Good evening. I want to thank you all for attending. My name is Teresa. I'm running for Committeewoman in Lemay Township. I'm originally from northern Wisconsin. I've lived in the St. Louis area since 1990 and in Lemay for 7 years. Like many of you, I have been very frustrated with what I see going on in our government. And I did the same thing many of you probably did. I wrote to my legislators and my elected officials. And you can imagine the response I got from Claire McCaskill. I was not very, my answers did not come. And I realized we need to do more, and it needs to come from the ground up. I spoke with my son and I was telling him about life when I was young, and I made a comment. I said, you know, I said, you wouldn't even know what I'm talking about because you've never experienced real freedom and independence to be able to do the things that I did. And then it hit me. And I said that it's time that we make a change. And I thank you very much for your time. And vote for me on August 7th.
Good evening. First of all, before I get started, I just want to thank Annette and her sister Margaret, Paul, Jane, everyone for putting this all together. I know we all appreciate the time to come up here and kind of explain our stance and our plans for our respective townships. So thank you. Today we heard yet another piece of terrible news, another blow to our Constitution, our rule of law, by the people who are supposed to be appointed to solely and only interpret and uphold the Constitution. At first this morning, I was really upset and really angry, probably like most people. As the day has gone on, I've realized that, you know, this is our opportunity as a Republican Party to use this as a motivator. This is something that we can, you know, go after in the election. We need to show these politicians and legislators from a grassroots level what we mean when we say small government. My name is Jackie Coleman, and I'm running in the Hadley Township, and I would appreciate your vote on August 7th. Thank you.
My name is Annette Reed, and I know a lot of you out here, but I've been at this for a few years, and now I think back, and really I first met Jane, and I would say she was one of the first people to get me interested politically, and I remember at that time she spoke to me about the importance of local issues, and she brought it down to a local level, and that was confusing to me at the time. And I thought, why on earth is she talking about the little things? And now here we are full circle. I've been working for Paul Curtman for a while. I worked on the Healthcare Freedom Act, but now it's almost as if I'm in reverse, where I want to start working more in the community. And I have a wonderful husband in the audience tonight, and I have 2 grown sons that are pretty much independent, so that gives me more free time. And I'm in Missouri River Township, so Jane Township, as a matter of fact, and I hope that I can read out also. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming, and thanks for putting it together. My name is Carol Reiss. I am also running for Committeewoman for Hadley Township. I've been active politically on some issues connected with, I also have one of my hats as president of Citizens Commission on Human Rights in St. Louis, which is a watchdog on psychiatric abuse. And we have been involved with briefing of legislators and, you know, finding abuses and taking care of that. So I got involved in watching these issues and working on these things. And then, of course, in 2008, we had the Ron Paul campaign that broadened my scope, and I've been involved in that. What I particularly bring to the table is not just those issues, but my ability to relate to people of a variety of political persuasions and bring them together, and that's what I hope to do, and I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
thanks again for putting this on, and thanks again for showing up. That's half the battle, right? I'm Jennifer Kelly. I'm running for Committeewoman in Chesterfield Township. I grew up in Bridgeton, went to St. Lawrence Marta Grade School, Pattonville High School, went out to Mizzou, was an ROTC graduate, a former military officer, and then spent a decade working for the VA, like Bruce back there. I'm a mother of 4, wife of my cousin there, and I made a promise in 1991 to support the defense of the United States, and I'm here to keep that promise.
My name is Margaret Walker. I'm running for Maryland Heights Township along with my husband Pat. And a little bit about myself. I began 4 years ago. We formed a group called I Heard the People Say, and that's the way it's steering the ship at this point. But I began it with my husband and Annette and myself, and really became involved in politics more. We began homeschooling our 2 children 2 years ago, 16 and 13. I was the president of the Parent Teacher Organization at the school where my kids went earlier, and I led community Bible studies, book studies. I taught Sunday school. I do think that shows I care about the community. I have a real heart for children, particularly at this time, because I just look at their future and I think I've got to help. I've just got to help. So I'm Maryland Heights Township running, and I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
If you have a question, just raise your hand and try to get to you. We should be able to get more questions tonight because we have half as many candidates as we had last night. And so if you raise your hand, I come to you to give you the microphone. There's some things you need to say, that's fine. We try to keep it short so we can really just get right to our candidates and we can hear from them for sure. So my first question that I'm going to be asking is, if you were called upon to help find a candidate for the Republican Party, what kind of candidate would you be looking for? And tell us a little bit about that. And last night, we're going to challenge you a little bit more. Last night, everybody said Constitution, limited government. Let's see if we can hear more than that in 1 minute.
The type of candidate that I would be looking for, in addition to be constitutional and limited government, would be a candidate who's willing to get down in the trenches and get down and dirty and do the work. Somebody who will stand by their principles and not be swayed. Someone who is deep-rooted in their beliefs. And those are the people that I would seek out. Thank you.
Yeah, I actually wrote this down last night when I was listening to those questions. I'm looking for someone who is a leader, someone, a problem solver, somebody who does something. I'm often tired of politicians and talkers. So I would be looking for someone who's really just, like she said, getting down and dirty and ready to do the grunt work. And not the talk, but the actual movement and things. So.
I'm one of the lucky ones that has a good track record of focusing in on candidates, and I was watching Paul Curtman from a distance, and I thought, if he doesn't have much help after the primary, I'll step in full-time, give it all I've got, and I also helped with other campaigns that to this day I feel like they've really stuck to the principles I believe in that are constitutional. And one of the big things I look for in really anybody I work with would be the ability to not alienate anyone. I am in a realm of a mixture, basically, of the Tea Party movement, the Ron Paul segment, the establishment, the so-called establishment, and it is one of the biggest victories I feel when I see people, a little light bulb goes off, and you can see that they understand that we have to find the common ground, not what divides us, but that's what I look for. Thank you.
Well, I would second everything said so far. I definitely the constitutional person, but the person who is an effective communicator and who will work with others to get those viewpoints across and get it done.
I'm going to take a quote from Senator Cunningham last night, and she gave us a teaching moment. She said, you make sure you pick someone who doesn't melt like chocolate in the sun. So someone that sticks to their convictions, and your shared convictions when it's hard decisions that you have to stand up to other people. And then also, I want someone who knows that this is about public service and not self-service.
I agree with so many of the points that were made, but a particular incident occurred to me when I attended the caucus with my husband. It was not run well at all, and our candidate was put on the slate. I spoke with the lady after it was over, and she knew my candidate had been put on the slate, and hers hadn't. But she still talked to me. We just had an understanding there that we're both conservatives, but we can't get so divided on little differences. We all want the same thing, so that really impressed me.
That was great. Did you even have to raise your hand, Bill? Wow. Is there anybody right now that has, we got a question right back here. I'm going to go to Carter first. Right there.
All right, I'm Carter Ballwin. I'm from St. Charles County. I was part of the famous Raucous Caucus at R17, and I want to know, based on what you learned from that experience and seeing the videos that were put out after that, what would you do in choosing a venue for a caucus, getting a registered parliamentarian to come to the caucus? What would be your planning to organize a caucus?
That's a really good question. I guess maybe just trying to guesstimate the number of people that you have. I mean, I don't know if a building that holds 150 people was even appropriate to rent out for the St. Charles caucus. But I know with my caucus we only had like 75 people, and then it was perfect. So just trying to guesstimate that and planning things accordingly. I think doing things fairly too. Even if you, like she was saying, even if you don't agree with a certain candidate or you wouldn't want that candidate, that doesn't mean that you have to rule someone else out just because it's not your choice. So just playing it fairly.
I like to think I'm a Plan B person. I would hopefully have a Plan B for various scenarios, but I would especially overestimate on room and resources. Our particular caucus didn't go very well because of that issue, and we ended up on a very hot parking lot. We couldn't hear anything, and it just left even the people whose candidate did win, it left them very frustrated. And so I would definitely look at the research of the history of the past caucuses, go from there and make arrangements.
Well, referring this back to the original problem with the Raucous Caucus, I would just make sure from the beginning that we didn't have that sort of situation develop by establishing good communication lines with people with the key terminals, key persons beforehand. This is what we did in Hadley, and I defused a potentially raucous situation before the caucus by going up to the committeeman and saying, what can I do to help? And we set something up, and we actually had a very smooth caucus. It went very well. I don't think anybody was dissatisfied with it, but it was a situation that was potentially hostile, and I just de-hostilified it before it got that way. So that's what I would do.
I think we're sitting now, so I'm just going to take advantage of that and keep sitting. You make a great point. Choosing a venue where you can fit as many people as possible inside, and if it doesn't work out, move outside. Sound is also important to consider. We'll have to have backups so that we can hear what's happening. Security too, and I don't know if some of you have seen that video of what happened in Louisiana where they broke the hip of the gentleman that was trying to run things. So we have to know when to hold them and know when to fold them, right? And then lastly, I think a parliamentarian would be a great investment so that it's not, we have someone who knows the rule, Robert's Rules of Order from the beginning to keep everything moving smoothly.
I think the basics in running a good caucus is just being prepared and organized, and that's exactly what did not happen